And now, after 170 nominations from all across the state, down to 31 Regional Teachers of the Year, the 6 finalists that you just met, it's time for you to meet our State Teacher of the Year. Her name is Darbie Valenti. She's a 14-year educator. She teaches 5th grade math and science at Minnie Klein Elementary School in the Savannah R3 School District. Ms. Valenti has a quote by Steve Jobs hanging all around the workspaces in her classroom. It reads as follows: "Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in a square hole, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, you can disagree with them, you can glorify them, you can vilify them. About the only thing that you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do." This statement is so important to her teaching and to her life. Once upon a time, Miss Valenti was the misfit. She was the rebel, the troublemaker, the at-risk student. She was the round peg in the square hole. Throughout her entire K-12 experience, she had one teacher that could see the genius in her, while all the other teachers seemed to focus on her challenges. Miss Valenti has devoted her teaching career to not letting those little kids, her little Darbies, as she calls them, get out of elementary school without a teacher seeing the genius in them. She believes in helping each and every student find their greatness, their potential, especially the students who come from backgrounds similar to her own.
I had one teacher that could always see through my attention-seeking behaviors and form a strong bond with me and build a relationship throughout the years. And so when it came time to choose my profession, I followed her footsteps so that I could also help those students that are growing up in difficult situations and build that connection with them and be that resource for them. With teaching, it's always changing and always evolving, so I like that challenge of creating and failing and improving and learning from. Student success, I think, can be multifaceted. It can be success on a standardized test. It could be success in a contest, but I think also student success can be measured in things like student council, where you're seeing leadership, you're seeing growth, even though there may not be awards for that. I try to really promote service and leadership through my student council, and we do all kinds of service projects. I think that service in our community is definitely one of the things that makes it special, and that the school is the focus of our community. As an educator, the students should up front be the thing that matters most. Every decision that's made should be student-centered, and I feel that if you do that, your students are going to feel connected to you, your students are going to rise to those expectations, and it's going to make your job so much more enjoyable.
Ladies and gentlemen, Missouri's 2016-2017 Teacher of the Year, Ms. Darbie Valenti.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Van Dieven. Thank you, Dr. Katnick, for those kind words. I arrived at this very hotel about 10:30 the night before my finalist interview. When I walked in the room, I saw a gift basket, and to be honest with you, I at first avoided it because I thought it might be one of those things you have to pay for. It turns out that the gift basket was a thoughtful gesture from my school district, but it was what was surrounding the gift basket that made all the difference. There were cards from my staff showing their support. but there were over 100 handmade cards from students at our school. And what floored me was that they were giving me the same words of encouragement that I typically give them. Many of the cards said, "We believe in you," or "I'm proud that you're my teacher," or "No matter what, you're our teacher of the year." It was at that very moment that I realized the outcome of the interview wasn't going to sway my students' beliefs in me. That was perhaps one of the most humbling and gratifying moments of my career. I wish that every teacher had the opportunity to feel what I felt in that hotel room that night. So it is with sincere gratitude that I would like to thank the people that make the Teacher of the Year program possible. Thank you to both the sponsors, both Monsanto and Boeing. Thank you to the State Board of Education. Thank you to the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education and all the wonderful staff there, including Ms. Linda Dooling. Thank you to MSTA, NEA, AFT, and all the other associations that lend their support to this program. Education is a noble profession, and I appreciate you for acknowledging that. I would also like to personally thank my loved ones here tonight, especially my better half, Mark, as well as my family and friends that are here. I would also like to express my gratitude to my fellow STAR teachers who have traveled all over the state to be here this evening, as well as my colleagues from the Savannah R3 School District. I especially want to thank all of you in attendance that are here celebrating the outstanding educators in this room. Although it is the educators that have the impact on students daily, you are making a difference in the lives of children all across Missouri through the educators that you love and support. We truly couldn't do it without you. So tonight I just want to share a short story with you. It's about a landscape gardener who ran business that had been in a family for several generations. The staff was happy and the customers loved to visit the store. For as long as anyone could remember, the current owner and previous generations of owners were extremely positive and happy people. Most folks assumed it was because they ran a successful business. In fact, it was the other way around. A tradition in the business was that the owner always wore a big lapel badge saying, "Business is great." The business was indeed generally great, although it went through tough times just like any other. What never changed, though, was the owner's attitude and the badge saying, "Business is great." Everyone who saw the badge for the first time invariably asked, "What's so great about business?" Sometimes people would comment on how miserable their own business was or how they personally felt miserable or stressed. Anyhow, the "Business is Great" badge always tended to start a conversation, which typically involved the owner talking about lots of positive aspects of business and work. For example, the pleasure in meeting and talking with different people every day. The reward that comes from helping staff take on new challenges and experiences. The fun and laughter in a relaxed and healthy work environment. The fascination in the work itself and other people's work and businesses. The great feeling you have when you finish a job and do it to the best of your capabilities. And the new things that you learn every day, even without looking to do so. And so the list went on, and no matter how miserable the person was, they usually end up leaving a lot happier just after a couple of minutes listening to all this infectious enthusiasm and positivity. It is impossible to quantify or measure attitude like this, but to one extent or another, it's probably a self-fulfilling prophecy, on which point, if asked about the badge in a quiet moment, the owner would confide, "The badge came first, the great business followed." I would like to ask teachers in this room, how is the business in your classroom? Administrators, how is the business in your schools? Can you enthusiastically say, "Business is great"? Sometimes business is hard. Some classes present many challenges. Some students may be difficult to love. However, let me share this with you. The parents are sending us the best students they have. I remember a mom that once sent to school a filthy little girl. She was constantly, or the only thing worse than her smell was her behavior. She was constantly unruly, disruptive, and challenging status quo. She was always covered in dirt, bruises, and head lice. She was difficult to love. Having a child like this in class made it hard to say, business is great. I know this because I was that little girl that my mom sent to school. At school, I wasn't only there to learn, but to be loved. Sometimes, when business isn't good, it makes it hard to remember that some children are coming to school to be loved. I am very thankful to two educators that are here with me tonight and that they acted in the same manner as the gardener, with positivity and enthusiasm, even when business was tough. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge those educators, a former teacher and a former administrator. Carlina Leeper and Kevin Daniel, will you please stand? Just like the gardener said, the badge came first, the great business followed. These two educators remembered to wear that badge. Eventually, although other teachers didn't believe it could happen, great things followed. Teachers like Catherine, Jody, Sandy, Nancy, Lindsay, and Michelle, along with so many other outstanding educators in the room this evening, do what the gardener oftentimes did. They too take pleasure in meeting and talking with their students every day. They find reward that comes from helping students take on new challenges and experiences. They take time to create fun and laughter in a relaxed and safe environment. They remember the fascination in education itself. They revel in the great feeling when they finish a job and do it to the best of their capabilities. Finally, they look forward to the new things that are learned every day. I want everyone in this room to remember the gardener. Plant the seeds of truth and wisdom in your students, but be careful to remember that some plants take more prep work than others. Nurture your students by providing them with their basic needs, which are not often found within the curriculum. And reap the reward of knowing that the seed you are planting today will blossom into a beautiful tomorrow for all of us. And most importantly, wear that badge even when times are tough, and great business will follow. I want educators for all over Missouri to be able to say, business is great. Thank you.